Hello everybody, this is Shirley with So Too We Begin Embroidery. Thank you for stopping by, I do appreciate it. What do I have for you today? Today I am going to do a short demonstration of putting puffy foam on a ball cap, a structured ball cap. It's not a Richardson 112, but it's just a regular structured ball cap, and I'm going to go ahead and put a design, a puffy design on this cap. I'm going to do it step by step. I'm going to tell you what the process is, what is necessary, and everything like that. So join me, follow along, and see how I do the puffy foam on a ball cap. So what I have here is just a trial that I did to make sure that I was able to do this design. I have to admit, I've never done puffy foam on anything before, no less a ball cap. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing it correctly. Now, I'm going to show you what I purchased, and I got it from Amazon. It is the Sulky Puffy Foam, and it comes in a variety of colors. I don't remember the exact price, but it wasn't too expensive. I'll link the product below. So below the description, so you'll know what I purchased, and you can go there and get it if you're interested in it. But it is recommended that you use puffy foam that is specifically made for embroidery. Now you can get the regular crafting foam from Walmart or numerous of places, but it is recommended that the foam that you get is puffy foam specifically for embroidery. And you need to make sure that you are aware of the designer's size. It comes in several thickness, and what I have is the 3mm. So this particular design is the first one I did, and I purchased this athletic puffy foam design from Creative Applique. Now Dawn, that created this, digitized it, has it on her site. I can link that as well. But she recommended that it did not be adjusted in size, edited in size. And these are 2-inch letters. I got the letters and the numbers, and it was around right under, well, $7 with tax, 7 plus some change with tax, $6.99, $6.97, something like that. Plus, when you add the tax, it was right at $7. So I got this. This is the first one that I stitched out just to see if it was going to work. So when I stitched it out and looked at it, I said, well, this is, I think it's going to be a little bit too large for the cap. So I was fooling around in Tool Shed by Dime, D-I-M-E, Design in Machine Embroidery, which I have a few of their software. So in Dime, I have their monogram software. And as I was messing around looking at things, I went into that particular software and realized that I already had several puffy foam fonts. Was not aware of it. So that was good luck for me. I really didn't have to buy this one, but this one has numbers. I'm not sure there's numbers in that particular software that I have. So this is what I stitched out using the monogram puffy foam design that I got out of my monogram software from Dime. Now what I did while I was in the software, I decided to edit the size. So I brought it down a little bit under 2 inches, and I brought it in right I'll tell you when I get to the machine exactly what the measurements are, but it's just a little bit over 4 inches. So I didn't want it to be too large. So I did do the printout and that was before I adjusted the size just to see how it was going to fit on the cap and centered and everything. So I do recommend that you do this if you're not familiar with using puffy foam. But anyway, I did my testing because I wanted to make sure that because I adjusted the size that it was going to stitch out okay, and it did not have any issues at all. So I am going to go ahead and try my luck on a real cap. So I'm going to head over to the machine now. So as you can see, I already have my cap hooped onto my machine. Now, if you're wondering how to hoop the cap and set it up and put the cap driver and all that on for a brother flat brim capping system, then you can look at one of my videos that I go through this information. So just check out my channel, look for the video on hooping caps. I got two. One that I did about 3 weeks ago. So if that's what you're interested in finding out, check that out. So I do have it hooped. I also have the design that's already on the machine. I'm going to pull it up, and then I am going to be ready to go ahead and stitch this out. Now, if you are familiar with that particular video that I told you about, then you realize that if you're using a true brother capping system, the machine is going to recognize it, and it's going to flip the design, and it is going to make sure that it fits on and everything. So what I have, I pulled the design up, and it is 1.72 inches tall and 4.20 inches wide. So that should fit on my machine, on my hat without an issue, because I think it'll go out as far as 5 inches this way and about 3 inches this way, so it should fit fine. But of course I'm going to definitely do the tracing to make sure. So I'm going to hit my tracing, and it's going to trace and let me know if it's going to fit on my machine without hitting anything, and it appears to be just fine. So the only thing I need to do is make sure I have it centered. So just a little bit more. Okay, it is centered. Now I'm going to trace it again. So it looks like it's going to be golden. So we are going to go ahead and get started on the stitching. And I am going to put my colors in, and the satin stitch that you stitch first before you put the puff foam on is going to be green, and then the puff foam, which I'm going to be using white puff foam, which also, remember, your puff foam needs to be the same color as your thread, or your thread needs to be the same color as your puff foam. So that is definitely recommended. And the reason is, if for some reason you have a little of the foam poking out, then it's not going to be that hard for you to clean it up and for it to work, because you're not going to see anything but the same color, because the foam and the thread is the same. So I'm using white puff foam, and it's pretty much just like doing an applique, to be honest about it, because you stitch out your first stitch, which is going to be my satin stitch, then you cut out enough puff foam. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, you want just the right size. And I need to make sure that this is going to fit, and I think it should fit. At least I hope so. It should fit. Yeah, it should fit, because this is the same size that I did the sample with, and as you can see, there's plenty of puff foam there to fit on there, so that shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the green thread that is going to be the satin stitch. and we shall see how this is going to work. Now the one thing that I do know, unfortunately, the way the Brother machine has calibrated their machine, the designs are always going to be high up. And this appears to be pretty high from the ground, at least an inch high, if not an inch and a quarter, but that's going to be okay. So I'm going to let this stitch out, and then when it's time to do the puff on, then I'll come back and show you that. So as you can tell, it is done, and it is time to put the puff foam on. The one thing that I did forget was to put my hand up, but I caught it because I was watching it and I stopped it, because you want to make sure that it stops so you can put your puff on here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it and lay it on here just like I said, just like an applique. And I will start the machine back up. And it is, I have it going at a speed of 400. I wanted it to be slow. I did not want it to stitch too fast. Actually, I never really stitch my hats fast anyway, so I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do that. And so it said it would take 28 minutes. So it actually took 9 minutes for this part. So the other 19 minutes will be stitching the puff on. And the reason it's going to take longer is because these are wider satin stitches, so it's more stitches. This is actually 10,449 stitches. So 3,341 stitches have already been done. So the other 6 plus almost 7,000 stitches, or actually it is 7,000 stitches plus, that still have to be done. That's why it's taking a little longer. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on here, and I need to cut it. And I'm going to have to, now they do suggest that you can spray it to make it stick on, and I'm not going to spray it. I am just going to hold it in place until it is tacked down, and I'll do that with my purple thing. I don't want to spray it on the hat. So you can do it however you want to do it, but the main important thing is, like I said, it's like an applique. So you just have to make sure that all your letters are covered. And I am, like I said, I'm going to just hold it down. This part, and then this part I can do with my hand until everything is caught. And then I'll be a little bit more comfortable with letting it go. But now we're going to do the white part and get started on that. So here we go. Well, as you can see, it is just about done. And I babysat it all the way through until I got to the U because I did not want anything to slip off. So I'm just hoping that it didn't get out of register and everything is in its place. We shall see in a few minutes. I only have a couple of hundred more stitches to go, and this particular project will be completed with the puffy foam being placed on like an applique. It will tear right off. You don't have to cut anything. You do have to clean it up a little bit to make sure you pull all of the puff foam out, but you don't have to cut anything. So we're just about there. It has completed its job. So there we have it. It is stitched on. The moment of truth is here. I am going to pull it off of the machine before I pull the puff foam off because I just want to see how it's going to look. Hopefully it's stitched perfectly, but we shall see in just a moment. Well, the hat is off of the hat frame and I'm going to pull the puff foam off, and as you can see, it just comes right on off. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. Just a couple little threads that I have to cut, and you have a perfect puff foam hat that I just did first time. I'm so happy. Everything turned out just fine. So let me get some scissors, clean this up, and I'll be right back. Well, here we are. I have my hat. Isn't it cute? I just love it. MVSU, my alma mater, Mississippi Valley State University, an HBCU in the state of Mississippi, home of Jerry Rice. And the colors are green and white with red for the devil. So these are my school colors. So I am very happy at how the hat turned out. And it was not hard to do. The thing that you need to remember is that when you are wanting to do puffy foam with any design, whether it's a cap or on some other, a purse, tote, whatever, a pillow, whatever it is that you're trying to do, because you can use puffy designs on either of those items. Now, what I have been told and read and heard is that you need to make sure that the design that you're using to use puff foam with has been digitized for puff foam. Now, some people have tried to do some items without it being digitized, and sometimes they're successful and sometimes they're not, but it is recommended that you only do puff foam with a design that has been digitized for puff foam. The other thing is that you need to make sure that the foam that you're using, the puff foam that you're using, is for embroidery. There are lots of foam out there, because I bought foam a couple of years ago when I first started my machine, but it was crafting foam and I never used it, didn't know any better, but as I've learned, I realized that was not the right type of foam. Now, can you use it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but it is recommended by the expert that you use puffy foam that is specifically for embroidery. The other thing is, it is recommended, and I do highly recommend, if you want it to come out successfully, is that you use the same color puff foam that your thread is. The thread needs to match the foam. So if there's any type of mistake, or if the puff foam sticks out just a little bit, or if there's a skip stitch or what have you, then it's not noticeable because the foam and the thread are the same. So that is the recommendation. Also, the recommendation is you do not resize the design. Now, if you're working in a software that does digitizing, which the software that I use does the auto digitizing, so when I adjusted the size, the auto digitizing component of this particular software that I use, and I'll put that software in my description, a link to it, it redigitized it, and so it worked out fine without any issue. Now, on the Brother PR 55X, which I have back here, also has a component that can digitize. So you can change your sizes in this machine as long as you go through that component, and it will redigitize it and make sure that the digitization is correct up to a certain degree. So you can edit a little bit also in the machine. But I did the editing for this in the software that I used prior to putting it on my USB stick and putting it in the machine. And let me see, what is the other thing? Oh, slow your machine down. Do not stitch it fast. You don't want anything to get off registry. And so I put it at 400 stitches per minute, which is the lowest that my machine will go. And then also cut out your puff foam to fit the size. You don't want it too big, and you definitely don't want it too small. It's just like an applique, and you put it on. Now, some people say you can use spray adhesive. I did not. Now, what I did notice is that when I did my samples, I did them and everything was flat. When I did this hat, because it was a hat frame, it was curved. And I was a little nervous because I didn't know how well that was going to work with the curve of the puff foam. And I was hoping that it didn't get off register. But since it is following the digitized design, it came out fine. I did use my purple thing to hold it in place. I did not use spray adhesive. That is something that they said you can use, but I would not trust spray adhesive, especially when you're doing it on a cap, because of the fact that it is curved. Your machine, even though you have it slowed down, is still stitching very fast. And I personally think that the foam can shift during the stitching. That will cause it to get off registry, and it will not stitch out like this, where everything is perfectly centered and inside the satin stitches, which is green, like it's supposed to. The white part is actually stitched over the puff foam. So that's how it is. So those are the things that I can tell you about doing puff foam with a cap or anything else. Just pay attention to what you're doing. Remember, it is just a different type of applique, and you don't have to cut anything, which is really good. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope this was something that was useful to you, and if it is, please do not forget to give me a thumbs up. That is extremely important. Like this video, share this video with anybody you think that could benefit from it. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can come back whenever I put up another video. Also, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I do have memberships available where you can become a member of the So Too We Begin embroidery community. And there's 3 levels. I have a video that tells you about the 3 levels and what the perks are. And also, I do welcome any super chats, super thanks, super stickers, any of those things to help support my channel. And please do not forget about Shirley's Wind Down Tuesday. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Come join us. We have fun. And I will look forward to chatting with you then. Take care, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.